Well, welcome back to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Frank.
And today's episode is episode number 96, and we're sitting down with Hans and Shari to talk about their recent 7-night Sun Princess sailing. Let's jump into it.
All right, so today, as we mentioned at the top, we've got some special guests. We've got Hans and Shari. They have been clients of ours. They actually were avid podcast listeners. I believe last year you guys started listening and you reached out and we were able to help you plan this cruise, which is always fun to hear the recap really of your awesome vacation. And we look forward to hearing about it. This is the Sun Princess. This was a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise on their brand new ship. So really looking forward to hearing more about that. But before we do, Hans and Shari, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to share.
Before we go into your trip and kind of talk about your cruise, we definitely want people to get to know you a little bit. So in terms of your travel philosophy, what is that reason that you get excited about traveling? Maybe talk a little bit about your travel experiences that you guys have had as a couple. And how many cruises have you been on so far? Just kind of let us know rough numbers of how many cruises, what number was this one? Yeah, let's kind of hear a little bit about your travel background.
Well, we have probably been on about 20 cruises. We've been on Princess, Carnival, and Celebrity, several of each. And we like to travel to get away from the winter because we live in Minnesota. So that's really nice. And our first cruise was our 5th wedding anniversary, and we've been married now close to 40 years. So we've been cruising for a long time, and it is our favorite vacation.
Yeah,
so
by far.
Yeah.
All right, so like you guys just mentioned, you're from Minnesota, so you obviously flew down to Fort Lauderdale before the cruise. Did you spend any time in Fort Lauderdale before your sailing?
Yeah, we did. I have a sister that lives in Fort Lauderdale. So they picked us up from the airport, and then we dropped off with the suitcases at the hotel, and then we went out to dinner and made a night of it and got back 10 o'clock-ish, and we're excited to go on our cruise.
That's awesome. So now that you guys were at the port, you mentioned dropping off your luggage in Fort Lauderdale. How was that process of kind of dropping off your luggage, getting through security, that full embarkation process, kind of compared to what you've seen in the past? Was it pretty smooth? Did you feel like that process went pretty efficiently? How was it getting in from the car to the ship?
I thought it was very efficient, actually better than Miami because it's smaller, there's less commotion, less traffic. We got there probably about 9:30 in the morning because we were really excited. And there was already quite the line outside, but the line went really fast. Security was really fast. Everything was very efficient in Fort Lauderdale. We really liked that port. And I would say we were having our first cocktail at 10:15.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Cocktails for breakfast.
Yeah.
So it went really fast, and we really liked that port a lot. I mean, we would obviously choose that because we have a relative there, but yeah, very efficient.
That's great. So like we mentioned, this is the Sun Princess y'all were on. So I think y'all were on it in its first couple months, right?
Yeah, it was the inaugural season, so yeah. It was probably 6 or 8 months old when we got on it.
What were y'all's first impressions when you got on the ship?
It was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. It looked brand new. All the finishes were really modern. We really, really liked it.
The room was great too.
When you did board, you boarded into like the main centrum, or what was kind of like the first thing you saw and noticed when you got on board, if you remember?
Yeah, so they board, you come in on the 4th deck, and the atrium is on the 6th, starts on the 6th. So you kind of come in where they let you off, like if you're going to an excursion or something. And so it's low key there. It's just a room, and then there's two walkways. You can go left or right. And we just found the elevators and went up and went straight up to Crooner's Bar.
No, that sounds awesome. So at some point you got access to your room. What was the room that you ended up booking for this cruise? Like what room type? And how did you feel a room was set up compared to kind of what you've seen in the past?
We had a deluxe balcony room, and it was beautiful. It had a lot of storage space, beautiful lit up closets. The balcony was your average balcony. It had 2 chairs and a small table. And we had a full size couch, sofa.
Comfortable bed.
Yeah, very comfortable bed. We really liked it. There was a lot of plug-ins for USBs and USCs and everything you could want on both sides of the bed, which is always a plus for us because we have a lot of devices that we bring. So we really like that. And that's the advantage, I think, over the older ships is these modern features that you don't think about until you actually get on the ship. But we really enjoyed the room. Very nice.
Don't need any extension cords or anything like that because they got
Right.
plenty of outlets.
I was about to say, I think that was the big thing when we were on Allure, Frank. We had 3 guys in our room, probably had, 2 or 3 outlets total to try and charge all our devices.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you don't really think about. Like you need, and now they don't even let you bring like the true extension cords. They're like letting you bring almost like a splitter, but it can only have one outlet. So you have, it's just the restrictions now are so interesting. But yeah, that's a great point that if you do pick a newer ship, you have a lot more. You have the ones by the bed. You've got the ones by, even in the bathroom, you've got them by the vanity. So you have so many options. It's really nice.
All right, so y'all dropped your bags off at your room. Now it's time for sail away. What do y'all like to do during sail away, and what did you do for this sail away?
Well, this time our sail away was delayed a few hours. There's just so many cruise ships in the port that day, and they were just, I think we were like the last ones to get out. And so I think we were supposed to leave like at 3, and I think it was after 5 when we finally started to pull out. So we were just sitting up on the front of the ship. They've got so many nice loungers there. We grabbed a couple of drinks and just sat there and watched all the ships leave and blow their horns.
And of course, Fort Lauderdale is beautiful. So it was nice to just lay there and look at the sights of Fort Lauderdale and relax a little to start your vacation. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. It's a really nice like channel that you kind of pull out of, if I remember correctly. Did they do like any dancing or anything on the pool deck? Like I know that you guys have been on carnivals, so they're pretty much known for their pool deck sail away shenanigans. Did they have anything like that, or was it kind of low key, kind of some music in the background kind of thing?
I think it would. They did have some of that, but it was kind of low key because I think because of the delay, like people were scattered versus all on the pool deck like they normally are at the right time.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's awesome. Well, glad you guys had an awesome sail away on the Sun Princess, and we're gonna get back to the Sun Princess. We have a lot of questions about this beautiful new ship, but before we get to the ship and your experience with the food and the entertainment and all of that on board, we do want to hear a little bit about your itineraries. Like we said, you got to go to 3 stops on the Western Caribbean, some really cool ports, some that I haven't been to in a long time. So I got to get out to the Western Caribbean sometime soon. But your first stop on the Sun Princess for your cruise was Mahogany Bay, Roatan. What did you guys end up doing, or did you have any plans for your day here in Roatan?
Yeah, so we just decided we kind of looked at the different excursions that were offered, and they have in Roatan, right there, they have a little beach that's just right across from the cruise ship. I mean, you can almost literally swim to the cruise ship from the beach, and you take what's it called, the magic carpet ride, or I think magical flying carp chairs is what they call it.
Yeah.
And it's like $25, and you get on. It's a ski lift essentially, and it goes probably a quarter of a mile, a little bit more than that, and it drops you off right at the beach.
The ride was beautiful. It was over all kinds of tropical foliage, and it was really pretty. It was nice. And it included 2 lounge chairs, a cabana, really all inclusive.
Wow.
And it made for a beautiful day because the water was beautiful, the weather was beautiful, and it was just nice to have that ride kind of smooth you into the beach.
It was fun. It was great water, not too overly packed, so we had a good time there.
Such a good price too. I feel like $25 is like
Yeah.
barely gets you anything
I know
nowadays.
it.
So that's a really good value.
And talking about Mahogany Bay, Frank, we haven't done cruise news in a couple weeks because we've had a lot of guests on the podcast. Carnival actually kind of had a big announcement with this port. They're changing the name of it next year. Going to be calling it Isla Tropical.
Yeah.
And then they're making some upgrades to the island. So I think they're adding a pool. They're going to eventually have like an adults-only little club area. So, yeah, I mean, I've only been to Mahogany Bay once, and I did an excursion, so I didn't get to enjoy this beach area, but it's going to be nice to get back there in the future.
That's going to be nice. And then you guys can look forward to maybe stopping there after all the refurbishments to the island, and it'll be a completely different experience.
Yeah.
But Hans, you were saying something about the medical emergency kind of changed a little bit of your itinerary. Tell us what happened on
Yeah. So about 3 or 4 hours after we left Miami or Fort Lauderdale, they announced that there was a medical emergency, and they couldn't take him off on a helicopter because he was too fragile. And I guess I found out that it was one of the trapeze guys had fallen, and I guess he broke his legs and hips and ribs and shoulders and all that. So we went to Cozumel, and we got there about 10 or 10:30, and they evac'd him off, and then we took off for Roatan, and we just got to Roatan about 2-3 hours late than we planned on originally.
So then after your day at Mahogany Bay, your second stop was at Belize City.
Yeah.
What did you guys end up doing here for the day?
Well, Belize City is a tender port, so we waited until the majority of the people had gotten off the ship, and then we went down to the tender and were able to get right on it, which was really nice. We didn't have to wait in line. Normally, there's a ticket process and you wait in line, but we waited a couple hours, and then we got on the tender, and it was probably a 20-minute tender ride to the port area. And we had done some research on Belize ahead of time and had decided we wanted to just stick around the port area, do some shopping, have a drink, just kind of wander around and see what's in the area. And there was plenty to do there, plenty of shops, and it was a really relaxed vibe there. We liked Belize.
Yeah, I've heard some amazing things about Belize City, and it does seem like that tender port does add a little bit of complexity to the day, but it seems like you guys were able to at least get off the ship with the time that you had and make the most of the day, which is all. I mean, that's the best you can do, and then you get back on and you've got a beautiful ship to come back to. So that's always nice. Your last stop on board your 7-night cruise was Cozumel. Again, this is the second time that you got to see Cozumel if you were there for the evacuation of the other guests, unfortunately, but you were going there for the last time. How did you end up spending your time in Cozumel during this cruise?
So we had booked Nachi Kokum, it's called, and it's a private, all-inclusive day resort. So we did that ahead of time, not through Princess, on our own, and you just give a deposit, and once you get there, you take a cab, and all the cab prices in Cozumel are listed out really nice right at the station. And so we grabbed a cab, went to Nachi Kokum. We had a wonderful day there. It was, I believe, $55, and it included unlimited drinks, it included lunch, and it included like a tiki hut and 2 chairs, and they only allow approximately 130 guests per day. And there are not a lot of children's activities. There's no children's water sport activities, but they did have a swimming pool and they did have a hot tub. We just went in the water and enjoyed the water, and
great.
The water was beautiful, and the service there is amazing. I highly recommend it if you want a real low-key, relaxed beach day.
I still have yet to do any of the beach clubs. Have you done any, Frank?
I've only done Mr. Sancho's, and that one I feel like I'm like about. Like I liked it because it was more of like the spring break vibe. I don't know if that's what you guys read when you were like researching the different options. I've heard great things about Nachi Kokum. I've also heard really good things about Paradise Beach Club in Cozumel. So I think if I were to go back, I would do Nachi Kokum or Paradise Beach. But it sounds like you guys had a great time. It's kind of crazy the fact that that's $55, like it makes you a little scared. Like you're eating all the food and drinks, and it's like, how is that $55? You know, like again, It just wouldn't make sense in America for anything to cost that little of money
No.
for a full day. But sounds like you guys had a really good time.
Yeah, everything was really nice. The beach was beautiful. It was just crystal clear water,
Clean.
clean. Yeah, very, very nice.
Obviously, you mentioned when you got to Cozumel, they had like the taxi prices listed and all that, and like there's obviously plenty of taxis there. On your way back, what's the process like? Like, is there like taxis kind of just waiting there? Do you got to call a taxi to get back?
Yeah, so you just tell the guy you got a guy that serves you, that takes care of you. You just tell them you're leaving, and they call a taxi. It took probably 10 minutes for one to show up.
Really quick.
Nice. Well, that seems like a great day in Cozumel. So that kind of wraps up the 3 stops you had on this cruise. You also had 3 full sea days on this sailing.
Yeah.
So let's going to talk about the sea days now. What did the typical sea day look like for the 2 of you? Did you kind of have a plan going in of things you wanted to do, or did you kind of just go with the flow? And then how were the crowds around the ship?
So we pretty much go with the flow. We had earlier dining this time than we normally do on a cruise ship, and so we had 5:30 reservations. So we didn't do a lot of lunches. So we had a breakfast almost every morning in the International Cafe, which is amazing. And they have great coffee, teas, pastries, breakfast sandwiches, whatever you could want, and plenty of seating. So we had most of our breakfasts there on sea days. And then we would just go get changed into our swimming suits and grab some towels. And we explored all the various pools and hot tubs. And yeah, we pretty much just kind of relaxed. And that was kind of what we like to do anytime we go on a ship, is just kind of relax. And yeah, we really enjoyed that ship. Everything about it is so beautiful, and we never felt crowded. We never had trouble finding a lounger, and we went on all the various decks, and we never had a problem finding a lounger or a table when we wanted one.
Or finding a seat in the theater, which seems to be a common complaint, but the couple times we went, there was always open seats.
No, that sounds like you guys had you made the most of your sea days at the end of the day. Sounds awesome. Sounds like kind of like what we like to do, go with the flow. Yeah. You know, eat some great meals, definitely get the bathing suit on and get some sun. That's where you're leaving Minnesota to go enjoy that sun. So that is awesome. Sounds like you guys got a lot of that. Now you kind of walked us into the food section. We want to hear a little bit about the food that you had on board. Where did you find yourself? It sounds like you did eat International Cafe for breakfast. Seems like most of the days you didn't do a big lunch, but if you did, how did you feel like the food was and some of those offerings for lunch in terms of those free options? And then, yeah, I know you guys really did mostly specialty dining, but did you get to venture or hear anything about the main dining room food?
Yeah.
And yeah, what did you think about the food and the quality of the service?
So we did do the main dining one night. That was okay. I felt it was just average. It was a slower service than like at the specialty dining. It took quite a while, but it was okay. I think some of the food came out a little cold or cool, but we did do some lunch. We had tacos and pizza, and I had shawarma. Never knew what shawarma was until I went on this ship. Yeah, so we ate, we had some lunches, just not big lunches.
We had pizza.
Yeah.
So I'm a pizza aficionado, so I like to try different pizzas. And so I tried all 3 of the pizzas.
Lido pizza.
Yep, Promenade.
Pizza slice by the slice.
Promenade, and I also had the Alfredo's pizza. And so we tried all of those at various times throughout our cruise. We did have the buffet once. That was good. They had a big variety of food, plenty of seating, no problem at all.
Really, really good cinnamon rolls.
That sounds awesome. Now, I know that like 2 things. One, we booked your dining, so we knew you did mostly specialty dining. And the funny thing is, when we were booking it, you're like, I really want to eat at the Crown Grill. And I was like laughing because when I called the lady from Princess to make your dining, she's like, are you sure? Like, there's so many restaurants, but you really wanted to eat at Crown Grill. So I got to ask, did the Crown Grill live up to the hype? If you were to do it again, would you go back to the Crown Grill 4 or 5 times like you did? Or would you, choose to kind of try other options, or, how would you go about that?
Well, we really did think it lived up to the hype. We really, really enjoyed it. The service was amazing. The steaks were very good, always done the way we like them. The desserts were amazing, and we really enjoyed our time at the Crown Grill. Like I said, the food was really, really good. So we really liked that, and we also had Sabatinis.
One night, yep.
So we really enjoyed Sabatinis too. It's more of a longer course style
7 course.
meal, and but the food was top notch, amazing.
So one thing with the buffet on this ship, I think it used to be on kind of the pool deck on most the Princess ships. I know on Sun Princess they moved it down a couple decks.
It's closer to the promenade, right, on Sun Princess than it is more of like the Lido. How did you guys feel like that worked with the crowd control and kind of getting in and out? Or, sometimes you want to be by the pool, but then you want to go grab a quick lunch. Did you feel like you were missing it up by the Lido deck, or did you like the placement on the Sun Princess?
I personally liked it. It was on deck 9, and the pool's on deck 17, deck 17. So it was kind of nice because then you didn't have people coming in, wet swimming suits and flip flops going through the buffet. So that was really actually kind of nice.
I felt like there was plenty of food options right on the pool deck also. So I don't think people had any issue with having the buffet somewhere else. I really liked it where it was. I thought it made sense for the ship.
Yep.
So moving on from dinner now, like we said, we booked you with the specialty dining. This is kind of where we're talking about add-ons now. So y'all actually had the Princess Premier package. Let's kind of just walk through some of that, some of the perks of the package that y'all took advantage of, and what y'all's overall thoughts were of having Princess Premier on your sailing.
Okay. Well, this is what got us to book the Sun Princess too, because we called you guys and said, hey, we're thinking of doing a cruise, and you sent us a really cool spreadsheet that had this cruise line, this ship, this cruise line, and when we saw the package that on the Sun Princess, honestly, we thought something was wrong. We thought, no, this can't be the right price because you get everything included. I mean, your drinks, your specialty dining,
Yeah.
your photo package, you get the internet, and you don't get just the regular internet, you get the fastest internet, which was fastest internet I've ever experienced. It was on that ship. It included your all your drinks. They had Ocean Now, your gratuities. It was just fabulous. It brought us back. We rebooked again on the same ship.
I think the thing about it is that, like you said, it's only, I think, $90
Yeah.
per person per day. And when you think about the specialty dining, the Wi-Fi, the drinks alone,
Yeah.
is like covers that. Then you talk about photo package. I think you mentioned
Yeah.
gratuities, being able to order delivery, food delivered to your room. It's just like if you're going on a Princess cruise and you want to be treated literally with like a king, queen, like no other, like this is the kind of package that you want to have on your cruise. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. Again, unless you're not going to be drinking alcohol, I think you may want to look at maybe the Princess Plus.
Yes.
But if you are going to be consuming any cocktails, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice because it afforded us the chance to try different cocktails, stuff that we've never had before. So that was really cool. And there's a couple of
Yeah.
drinks where we took a couple sips and just left it. But majority of them we liked, and it was really fun because they had some really good, different drinks there. We had the key lime pie martini was awesome, and stuff like that. So it was really great.
Well, and I felt like besides the drinks alone, I mean, you can pay $90 for a drink package on other cruise lines, and that's what you get, just the cocktails and the coffees and the water. This is all inclusive for $90 of everything that we mentioned. And specialty dining, it's unlimited. So you can eat specialty dining for every meal if you would like that it's offered. So it was such a good value compared to even Celebrity. We love Celebrity. We've been on many Celebrity ships and we would go again. We love their ships. They're beautiful. The last one we were on was the Apex. So we can compare kind of that to the Sun Princess. And we absolutely loved Celebrity and the Apex. It was a gorgeous ship. But again, once you add on the drinks, the one or two
Gratuities.
specialty dining adventures and gratuities, and we have to have the internet. We run a real estate office, so we have to stay connected well. And by the time you add all of that up, we were several $1,000s more than the Sun Princess.
Yeah.
And I think too, the one that doesn't get talked about enough is the gratuities. Because I mean, you're paying that anyways, and
Yeah.
depending on the cruise line, you may be paying already $20 a day a person. So just take your 90 and subtract that since you're already paying it. And it's like, well, $70 now, and
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to negotiate those off. I mean, I don't know many people that would do that. The one that's really interesting is the photo package, because I don't really take that many photos, and I do have some perks with Royal, so I get like a free photo, and my wife and I do. But like to get a full stack of photos
Yeah.
seems like pretty cool, because on other cruise lines, if you bring in your kids or your family, to pay for photos sounds silly. Again, I think we hit this last week. Could be hundreds of dollars if you're spending like a lot on a real photo package. So
Yeah.
pretty cool that comes with it too.
Yeah. And that was you could download all the pictures for free. And then I think you got for 5 pictures per person that you could print
3.
out 8 by 10.
Yeah.
3 by each person, 8 by 10. And you could pick which ones.
all right, so let's move on to entertainment now. So you finished up your dinner each night. Were y'all able to catch any shows, live music, comedy around the ship? And did you get to check out some of the venues like the Dome or the Piazza?
Yeah, we watched a lot of shows actually in the Piazza. They had amazing entertainment there. They had acrobatic acts, they had several really great bands, a lot of really fun game shows.
Yeah.
And what was really nice is you could walk up anytime, and there was seats along, like cushioned bench seats along the whole piazza, every floor. So you could just pop in wherever you were at, sit down and enjoy a show. And there was always something going on there. And I would say we watched, most of our entertainment was just sitting there and watching shows. We did take in a few comedy shows, and that was in Princess Live, kind of a small, quaint kind of theater. That one was a little short on seats, I felt like, for the entertainment that they had, because they really had great comedians and singers. We really liked the Princess Live atmosphere. It was kind of small tables and tables for 2, and it was kind of nice. A little bit small, like I said. We did take in one show in the main theater, and that was a singer, and it was really good. We had no problem finding a seat. I would say it was probably only half full, and we went to the earlier show, 7:30. And that was nice. Other than that, we didn't do any other big theater shows because we had such a great time just popping into the piazza and watching things going on there.
You guys didn't see anything at the Dome, right? You pretty much are saying
Yeah,
kind of
we
avoided
went
the
to-
Dome on this one.
We went in the Dome a couple of times just to relax, but we didn't see any shows there.
No, that sounds amazing. Sounds like you guys really took advantage of a lot of the entertainment options on board Sun Princess. And when you say Piazza, that's the center stage thing that they have on Carnival, right? So it's the same generic ship. I mean, not ship layout, but it's pretty much the same, I guess, structure as the Celebration Mardi Gras. So center stage is kind of that venue, that the Piazza, basically the venue that's within the Centrum area, right?
Atrium.
So kind of like the main atrium of the ship. So that's really cool that you guys got to take advantage. And I've heard you obviously, rave about that space too, just being it's Carnival, and it sounds like Princess is doing a very similar concept on their ships. So one of the things I feel like people do talk a lot about with this ship is the ship layout. Hans, I think we talked about this on the phone even, that it's laid out a little bit different than some of the other Princess ships. If you're new to Princess, you probably don't really know, and this may be a mute point. But for those that have been around Princess for a while, I've heard the feedback that it takes a little bit getting used to. How did you guys feel the ship layout was for the Sun Princess? Did you feel like it was easy to navigate and to find venues on board the ship?
I felt like we didn't have any problem navigating the ship. We have been on Princess a few other times, and this one is different. It's new, and the layout is different, but we didn't have any, after the first day, we didn't have any problems navigating the ship at all. I feel like every ship you go on is slightly different. And so we just go on looking at it that way. Yep, it's different, but not in a bad way. I thought it was laid out great, and the elevators were smart elevators and amazing. So quick. You just push the button for whatever amount of people you're going to have and what floor they're on the outside of the elevator, and there's not even buttons on the inside. So it only opens up if it's available for that many people. So it's very, very efficient. We had no problem with the layout at all. We actually liked it.
All right, let's move on to the service now on this sailing. When it came to the crew on board, whether you're room steward, bartenders, wait staff, how was your experience with the crew members?
I thought they were all great. I couldn't say they're a bad thing about any of them, actually. We enjoyed them. Man, we had that one at Sabatini's. He was hilarious. One day we're not really hungry, but they have a 7-course meal when you go to Sabatini's, the Italian place. And I said, hey, I just want to have lasagna and a salad. And he looks at me, he goes, oh, he says, my grandma's going to be so disappointed. She's been cooking all day, you know. So he was cracking jokes the whole time. It's pretty funny. And we actually went back and gave him an extra tip at the end of the cruise because he was really great. But yeah, everybody was great. Our room steward, we barely saw him, mostly just saw him in the hallway. And it's really nice. Princess also does 2 cleanings a day, so instead of just one. So that's a real nice feature too. We really like that.
Yeah, I personally miss the two cleanings a day, so that would entice me to go on Princess because
Yeah.
I've been now accustomed to the one. But I always remember telling my friends like, yeah, where do you go at a hotel where you got 2 cleanings a day? And now it's back to the one. I'm like, man, I miss the 2 for sure.
I also felt like the bar staff was really, really good too. I feel like they were very attentive to everybody. And, Princess has the medallion, and we wore ours on wristbands. And so you could walk up to any venue and they call you by name.
That was really cool.
That's a great use of technology. It's like, it just makes you feel like, even though they're not memorizing your name, they have it handy. It's like, it just makes you feel better too when you're talking to them. It's like, oh, okay. And it's an extra little step in there that makes it more personalized.
Well, it's really cool because I saw that one time it's basically an iPad they have, and when you walk up, your picture pops up on their iPad with your name and your room number and all that. And they just look at you and they identify you by your picture that they took when you got on board, the first day. And hey, Hans, what can I get for you? And you tell them, and that was it. No cards, no signing, nothing. That was just it. And I've heard people complaining, oh, I got a whole bunch of drinks that I didn't, drink. Well, I don't believe that because they look at your face.
Yeah,
But it was really cool.
I felt like that medallion technology was just top notch.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk up to your door and it opens it. You're not digging through your tote bag or your beach bag for your card, or digging out your wallet. And you can bring, if you bring snacks or whatever from the buffet or a couple drinks down, you're not trying to manage everything and find your key to open your door. So it was really nice. And we did
Great technology.
Yeah, we did actually take advantage of the Ocean Now app that you can use right through your medallion a few times, when we were sitting by the pool and just wanted to order a lemonade or iced tea or a burger. You can just do it right through there, and they know exactly where to find you, and they bring it right to your chair. So it was great.
I was about to say, we've talked plenty in the past about the medallion technology, and one, just seems super cool. 2, I don't know why Carnival just won't adopt it over there.
Yeah.
Their sister brands, like, you already have the technology. Let's just get it on some of the newer Carnival ships. But, like, we've talked in the past about, like, the opening the doors, Ocean Now and all that. The whole iPad walking up to the bar thing, we've never even mentioned that. And, like you just said, that's super cool. Just, like you said, walking up to the bar and somebody...
I mean, how long until all the cruise lines are doing this? It's just like, it seems so awesome that Princess is really leading the way with this. And, all the other cruise lines are behind, honestly, quite frankly,
Yeah.
in terms of technology. I think some of them are slowly getting there,
I,
seeing some new things with tracking your kids and stuff. But like, I'm really excited for other cruise lines to get to this level of where Princess is,
I,
honestly.
I believe Virgin has medallions too. I don't know what they call it, but I know it's amazing technology. It's so nice because I can if we separate, we can find each other with it, and it's just great because it's so new, and I just gotta imagine that soon all the cruise ships, the cruise lines will do that.
So before we move on to disembarkation, is there anything else y'all want to talk about when it comes to the Sun Princess?
Mm, no, not really. So one more thing about the medallion, that was really cool because you know what's coming and they mail it to you. If you live in the United States, they mail it to you about a week to 10 days before your cruise. And boy, I tell you, that's pretty cool to get that in the mail. You get this cool little package, got your medallions in there. That's a real good sales thing. That's really cool.
I would say overall, the Sun Princess was amazing, and we liked it so much that we already booked her for next year. Again, a different itinerary, but we're to the point now where we've been on so many cruises that we've been to a lot of the destinations before. So it's more about the ship time and what's going on board the ship. And we really felt like they had a lot more going on than Celebrity did
Yeah.
in the evenings.
Yeah.
And we really liked that too.
For the medallion, I know you said it came in the mail. Did you have to order, like, I think you said that you bought something to kind of keep it on your person. Did you buy that separately at the cruise port? Did you pre-buy that? Kind of talk us through how that works when it comes to like what they send you versus like, okay, what do you actually wear around your neck or on your wrist or how that works?
So yeah, they send you clips are included and a lanyard comes with the actual medallion. You can order ahead of time the wristbands if you would like them from Princess. We just went on Amazon and bought a couple of them inexpensively. Yeah. And so we had those ahead of time, and that's actually your boarding pass and everything. So we were good to go. We just put it on the morning of the cruise, and yeah, we saw people, wearing them on the lanyards and on clips, but the majority of people actually did wear it on your wrist. It's waterproof. You can swim with it, shower with it. So we just left them on the whole cruise, and it was very, very convenient.
So unfortunately, after 7 amazing nights at sea, your cruise had to come to an end. How was that disembarkation process at Fort Lauderdale?
It was really good. We did the self walk off. We didn't do the luggage out the door the night before. We had a little bit earlier flight, so we didn't want to have to wait for all that. And that went smooth. We just got dressed in the morning. I think we went and had a coffee and came back and grabbed our bags and we walked straight out. I mean, it wasn't much of a line at all. I would say the only issue we had with disembarkation was when we got off the ship, they send you to a specific area to catch an Uber because that we Ubered back to the airport, and there was no reception there. Everybody's walking around trying to get reception, and people are holding their hands up and trying to get reception on their phones, and so they need to do something there to get a little better reception for phones in that area where you're catching your Ubers.
Or direct people to another area
Yeah.
to catch the Ubers, because that was an issue for almost everybody, was trying to connect with Uber on your phone in that area. So you had to walk across the street, which there was a lot of traffic. So that was the only hiccup we had.
Went really good other than that.
All right, so overall now, in terms of the service you had on the ship, the dining, your itinerary, I mean, it already sounds like this was probably one of your top cruises. Like you said, you're already booked on the Sun Princess again next year. How does this cruise compare to some of your other ones? And is there anything you would have done differently on this sailing that you may do next time when you're sailing back on the Sun Princess?
So I would say this was probably our favorite ship for dining, entertainment. just the classiness of the ship. We really, really liked it. The whole trip was really great. We love Celebrity too, and their ships are amazing. But again, it comes back to the package that was included in Princess, and that the Sun Princess was a new ship that we wanted to experience. We really feel like Princess and Celebrity are pretty close as far as what they have on board and the size of the ships, because we took the Apex and that was, a big ship also. I would take Celebrity again or Princess again, and we're now looking to book a Carnival cruise on one of their newer ships also. So we're never opposed to any particular cruise line. I did really feel like, though, that Princess really stepped up their game even since last we sailed her.
I was going to say, I want to add that we really appreciate you guys, because it was you that even showed us the Sun, because we didn't even look at that ship before when we were trying to figure out which ones. And you pointed out the package and the Premier package and all that stuff. And when we were on our ship, we kept saying, I'm so glad we called you guys.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we enjoyed seeing the photos. I think you sent us with you guys at the bar with your drinks, and we're like, man, we just wish we were on a cruise right now with Hans and Shari. But no, glad you guys had a great time, and it was fun getting to work with you, and looking forward to doing that again in the future. Now, for those that are listening that may be looking at a Princess cruise or a Sun Princess cruise, do you have any recommendations for them that may be looking to book in the near future?
Well, I would just say definitely consider the Premier package. Even if you don't drink a lot of alcoholic drinks, it includes so much that you never have to worry at all about a bill at the end. And I would say don't hesitate to book the Sun. There were a lot of negative Nancy's on some of the Princess pages about the Sun, but experience it. You'll love it. We loved it.
Yep.
We're doing it again. So I highly recommend the Sun.
Well, overall, the sailing sounds amazing. I can't wait till we eventually get on the Sun Princess, hopefully sometime in the next year or two, and experience it for ourselves. But we just want to say thanks to y'all, too, also for just trusting us with helping you book your vacation. Like you said, when you saw the pricing at the start, it may seemed a little sketchy because it was lower, but, I mean,
worked out.
like you said, it worked out. The package is great. So, yeah, we just want to thank y'all for both coming on the podcast and giving your review, and we can't wait to hopefully have you back on again in the future.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again to Hans and Shari for coming on the podcast and doing a review of their Sun Princess cruise. If you are interested in becoming clients of ours, just like Hans and Shari did, we'd love to work with you to plan your next cruise vacation. You can send us a text at 704-313-8556, or you can fill out the Jot form in the description of this episode, and we'll be in touch about cruise deals and just kind of talk about what you're looking for and help you plan your family's next vacation. So with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the podcast, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.